But now, is that better?
Yeah, much better.
Okay.
Still dark, but it's much better.
Still dark. Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll just sit somewhere else. Sit somewhere else. It's better. Cover that. Okay.
Yeah.
Bit more brighter here. Okay. And now just get my head.
All right. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, both assembled and those who might be watching this live on YouTube. We warmly welcome you all to Hare Krishna Africa platform today, the 22nd of April, 2024, which,
Much.
which happens to be, of March. Thank you, Prabhuji. I'm ahead of myself. 22nd March of 2024, which happens to be Friday, the last busy working day of the week. And we are kind of very fortunate we have His Grace HARINAMANANDA Prabhu. It's very interesting how spiritual masters in ISKCON give uh, spiritual names to individuals. That if you understand the name, you can also understand a bit of the individual. He's named Harinam Ananda, the bliss of singing and chanting and dancing to the holy names of the Lord. So that actually explains and describes our revered speaker today. So Harinamananda Prabhu, I think your image is pretty good now.
Much better now?
Yes, much better.
I'm trying to get in the right light. So
Yeah,
much light here.
yeah,
Sorry about that.
it's okay. So without further ado, we may put the verse on the screen and you take it over from here.
Okay.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Mm.
Very good. All right. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, text, chapter 9, text 23. Pratyadistam maya putra tvaikama mivohite tapame hridayam shakshat apmaham tapaso naga. Word for word, Pratyadisham ordered maya by me, patra because of Twayi unto you, karma, duty, bimohite, being perplexed, tapaha, penance, me, hridayam, heart, shakshad, directly, atma, life and soul, aham, myself, tapasa, of one who is engaged in penance, anaga, O sinless one. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. O sinless Brahma, you may know from me that it was I who first ordered you to undergo penance when you were perplexed in your duty. Such penance is my heart and soul, and therefore penance and I are not different. Purport. The penance by which one can see the personality of God face to face is to be understood as devotional service to the Lord and nothing else, because only by discharging devotional service in transcendental love can one approach the Lord. Such penance is the internal potency of the Lord and is none different from him. Such acts of internal potency are exhibited by non-attachment from material enjoyment. The living entities are encaged in the conditions of material bondage because of their propensity for overlordship. But by engagement in the devotion service of the Lord, one becomes detached from this enjoying spirit. The devotees automatically become detached from worldly enjoyment, and this detachment is the result of perfect knowledge. Therefore, the penance of devotion service includes knowledge and detachment, and that is the manifestation of the transcendental potency. One cannot enjoy material illusory prosperity if he desires to return home back to Godhead. One who has no information of the transcendental bliss in the association of the Lord foolishly desires to enjoy this temporary material happiness. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said that if someone sincerely wants to see the Lord and at the same time wants to enjoy this material world, he is considered to be a fool only. One who wants to remain here in the material world for material enjoyment has no business entering into the eternal kingdom of God. The Lord favors such a foolish devotee by snatching all that he may possess in the material world. If such a foolish devotee of the Lord tries to recoup his position, then the merciful Lord again snatches away all that he may have possessed. By such repeated failures in material prosperity, he becomes very unpopular with his family members and friends. In the material world, the family members and friends honor persons who are very successful in accumulating wealth by any means. The foolish devotee of the Lord is thus put into forcible penance by the grace of the Lord. And at the end, the devotee becomes perfectly happy, being engaged in the service of the Lord. Therefore, penance in devotional service of the Lord, either by voluntary submission or by being forced by the Lord, is necessary for attaining perfection. And thus such penance is the internal potency of the Lord. One cannot, however, be engaged in the penance of devotional service without being completely free from all sins. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, only a person who is completely free from all reactions of sins can engage himself in the worship of the Lord. Brahmaji was sinless, and therefore he faithfully discharged the advice of the Lord. Tapa, tapa. And the Lord, being satisfied with him, awarded him the desired results. Therefore, only love and penance combined can please the Lord. And thus, one is able to attain his complete mercy. He directs the sinless, and the sinless devotee attains the highest perfection of life. Hare Krishna. Om Gyantimadandasya Gyanana Shalakya Chakshamitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Sthapitam Swayam Bhagaram Ranchakapataru Vischa Kripasindu Vyevacha Patitanam Bhavni Vyo Vaishavyo Kata Yata Yata Yasmin Daskuram Sukuram Bhavet Vishate Vipyatin Syat Shri Chaitanya Nananamata Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So the Lord is so excited about the living entity performing devotional service. He's mentioned that this penance of devotional service is his life and soul. It's non-different from him. It's his pleasure potency, the internal potency. And we can see this manifest in the living being when the living being becomes detached from material energy. Visyavinivitante nirhasyadehna rasarajam rasobhyasya padam tisva nivartate. That the embodied being, even though trying to restrict the senses, sense enjoyment, the taste for it still remains. But by experiencing a higher taste, he gives up the lower taste and is fixed in his true consciousness. There's a nice example of this I experienced. So we're cultivating a new devotee in Australia, in Melbourne. And Prabhupada said in Melbourne, if you want to take over Australia, you have to distribute lots of prasad. That's the way to conquer Australians. They're not good at philosophy, so prasadam's the way. So we'd do a lot of catering, especially at music festivals, all types of music festivals. Even if it's like a Karmi music festival. So we're at one, pretty much it's a rave in the bush, in the forest. And we're there for like 3 days. And there was one prospective devotee coming through. He started reading some books and he wanted to get into Krishna consciousness. And I told him, we're doing this catering, why don't you come along? So he came along. And his experience there was, a bit different because we were serving prasadam, but he's used to being on the other side of the counter, and we're dealing with people who are taking like ecstasy drugs, whatever other pills that you pop to enhance a rave experience. But they'll come for prasadam. They like prasadam more. But he just came into Krishna consciousness, and then he told me, he says, hey, I really have this craving to smoke a cigarette. So then I told him this verse, you have to get a higher taste. So why don't you just eat some halva and then the craving will go away? He's like, really? You go, yeah, just try it. This is what the Gita says. So he's studying biology, so he understands like science that has like a theory. You put it to practice and get a result. So he wanted to see the result, the spiritual science of prashadam. So then he took some halva and he goes, oh my God, this Bhagavad Gita was right. I don't feel like a cigarette anymore. It's really the higher taste here. So he eventually became a serious devotee and started his own restaurant in Melbourne itself. We could see the power of prasadam. And it's mentioned in the second verse of the 9th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Racha Rajam Rasovi Priyas. Raja Vidya Rajaguyam Paricham Idam Uttamam Padakshavāgamam Dhamam Susukam Khatamaviyam. That's joyfully performed. It's devotional service. But why is it called a penance? So I looked up penance in the dictionary. I had a few meanings, but I'll highlight one. So in the dictionary it says voluntary self-punishment in order to atone for some wrongdoing. Self-mortification, self-abasement. So you can see it's very negative. It's involuntary self-punishment to atone for a wrongdoing. Self-mortification. It's like whip yourself in the back or something, Jump into the fire. Very negative kind of address towards oneself. The reason why it seems like a negative thing or a way of self-punishment or self-negation is because we have this propensity. I got it there. Nice. Full screen. Because we have this propensity, it feels very difficult because we have this propensity to try and be God, to somehow overlord everything. So we have this bad habit due to being in the material world for so long. It's just like a smoker trying to quit. The smoking companies, they make sure that people start smoking in their younger years, in their teenage years. So they eventually, when they become an adult, they can't give it up because they're already addicted due to the nicotine. So they know about the addiction of it. That's why you can make so much money. Similarly, we have an addiction of envy just plaguing our heart. Even though we may hear the philosophy, we know it's the right thing to observe Krishna as the Supreme Master. But due to envy that we've cultivated in this material world for millions of lifetimes, very hard to break. There's a book called Milton's Paradise, and it's quoting Satan in there. So Satan says, better be a king in hell than a servant in heaven. So this is pretty much the mentality of the living entity in the material world. We can't stand that Krishna is the supreme enjoyer, proprietor, and controller. Just like it says in the Bhagavad Gita at the end of the 5th chapter, Bhakta Yagya Tapasam Savalokameshwara Suridam Savabhutanam Gyantamam Shanti Richati. We can't handle it. It's too much for us to comprehend. So with this mentality, devotional service looks like a punishment. It looks like a penance. You self-deny yourself. You're abstaining from pleasure. When the non-devotee finds out the devotee's lifestyle, you wake up what time? We're waking up 3:30, 4 o'clock. We're really happy to do that, to attend Mangalati or chant our rounds before sunrise. It's enjoyable for a devotee. You have breakfast when? Like 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock? So late. When people just eat even in bed. It's like a pleasure. And I never did it with my parents, but I heard growing up in Australia, it's like Mother's Day. So then, okay, to please mom, they'll bring breakfast in bed. She's like, oh, so nice. Usually it's the first thing they do is eat something. But the devotees, they want to shower, they want to chant their rounds, they want to do their worship. Then they attend to the body. And you eat only what? You're only a vegetarian? What about the meat? What about the protein? So the non-devotee is bewildered. You don't drink, you don't eat meat, you don't have sex, you don't even masturbate. For the non-devotee, these things are bewildering. That's why they see it as a penance. That's why they see it's like you're denying yourself. And then they may ask you something like, what do you do for fun? So many times in Australia, I'll drive around in a van and I'm in remote areas, and we'd meet people who are like sense enjoyers, and we tell them our life, like I remember one guy asked me, he asked like, so why do you wear the orange? What does it mean? It's like, oh, we never get married. And they're like, yeah, that's the way, mate. What they were thinking is that we're just debauchees and we're just like hunting women and avoiding marriage. That was the idea behind saying that. That's why he was congratulating us on our debauchery. Another time I met a man on a plane and I was mentioning the 4 Greek principles: no meat eating, no illicit sex, no gambling, and no intoxication. And he pretty much said, it looks like you don't enjoy life at all. I go, no, I enjoy chanting. I have a good life. It's really enjoyable. Not to me. So we get off the plane together and it turns out he was like crippled. He couldn't even walk properly. His body was like not working at all. And I'm thinking, you're telling us we don't enjoy it? It looks like you're suffering at every step here. But he saw that I was suffering more than him. This is due to the envy to the Supreme Lord. And then if just a little bit of devotional service, it's like the biggest punishment. But the non-devotee, he thinks he's going to enjoy the material. But it's stupid. The Bhagavad Gita warns in so many verses. Yei sansparsha cha boga dukkha yoniya evate ariyanta vanta kunti nateshara buddha. That those who are wise, they don't take part in the sources of misery, which are due to contact with the material senses. So Krishna mentions this 4 times in one line. Dukkha yoniya evate. Dukkha means distress. Yoniya means the source of. Eva te. Eva means like certainly, indeed. Eva te. It's like twice. Why? You know, the non-devotee will say, I'm enjoying my senses. It's so good when I drink this beer. It's so good when I touch this. It's so good when I hear this. You know, I have a great time. The reason why is because Adi Anta Vanta Kunteya. Adi means it has a beginning, Anta means it has an end. The soul has no beginning and no end. So the happiness we need should have no beginning and no end. So pretty much if someone asks you, what is the goal of your life? What is the purpose of life? It's to find that happiness that has no beginning and no end. But sense enjoyment, material sense enjoyment, has a beginning and an end. So pretty much happiness plus temporary equals misery. If you want to take it mathematically. Nabuta Tesham Buddha had that the wise, the Buddha, they don't take, the intelligent don't take part in it. Even in the 8th chapter, Ukalaya Masasutta, that this world is temporary and full of misery. Abrahma Bhuvana Loka Punavatana Rajana, Mount Petra Kuntiya Punya Jamana Vijate. From the highest planet in the material down to the lowest, all the places of misery, where repeated birth and death take place. But one who attains Maya Bodho Sanakuti never takes birth again. Even if you're reaching the heavenly planets, if you're a Karma Kandi and you're doing nice rituals for your material life, still, place of misery. What to speak of? Birth, death, old age, and disease. Doesn't matter if you're rich, you still get disease, you still get old. And death is 100% still. No one has escaped death. What to speak of the threefold miseries, Adibhotika from other living entities. I'm here in Mayapur, the spiritual world, but my material body is giving me pain by mosquitoes. Terrible mosquitoes. Adidevaka from natural disturbances. I remember I was here and this huge hurricane was passing towards to Bangladesh, but the edge of it caught Mayapur and the winds were going at 100 k's an hour. Now the windows you could feel were about to smash. So much rain everywhere. It was distressful, yes. And then the worst one is Aryatmika, the distress from one's body and mind. Obviously, we get some pains in the back and the knees, but the mind is the most powerful pain giver. You know, if someone just says the wrong thing, some harsh words, it hurts and we think about it for a long time. People, even, they said tweens in the West, tweens are like before teens, like 10 to 12 years old. They're even being suicidal just due to a disturbed mind. This social media thing isn't giving them more happiness, it's causing more pain. You know, one comment, negativity just sets them rolling into depression. And everything pretty much ends in zero. Whatever you attain, all your degrees, all the family you've built up, all the money you've saved up. Once death comes, you can't take it with you. You come naked and you go naked. This is what happens with the non-devotee. You may argue, yes, the devotees also go through birth, death, old age, and disease. But no, it's not the same effect. Because we are performing devotional service, you know, when there's disease, we see it as Krishna's mercy trying to purify us. We're in a positive state of mind. When old age comes, the gray hairs appear. We're thinking, there's not long till I'm with Krishna. And death is just a change of service, my spiritual master said before leaving. He was not afraid of death. Actually, my spiritual master is Kadamba Swami. So before he left, or once he found out he had the terminal illness of cancer, I never seen him so enthusiastic. he was like excited. He was more into devotional service than ever before. You know, he was the happiest person to be around, full of energy. Those final kirtans were probably the most amazing, energetic kirtans you can hear. And Jade Wetamaraj said that he has too much energy for a dying man. So this is the devotees. There's a great example when attending towards death that they give the example of a cat. So when the cat has the rats in its mouth, the rat feels death, pain, suffering, all turmoil is taking place. But when the same cat with the same mouth carries the kitten feels safe, security, love, comfort. This is the devotee. There's always gain in devotion service. Nothing is lost. That even a little endeavor on this path of devotion service, there's no diminution. You don't lose nothing. Everything is gained. And you're saved from the greatest fear of an animal birth. But these non-devotees, they want to stay in this prison, this Maituna Agraha, with the shackles of sex life. Many prisoners don't want to leave in real life. They feel like they're comfortable. They've figured out the prison system. This is my place. I can't survive out there. Why would I go out there? So people don't want to leave the prison. They think it's not free. So the same thing, people don't want to leave this material world because of lack of transcendental knowledge. They don't know about the spiritual world, where every day is a festival. Every step's a dance, every word's a song. This is what's enticing people to start practicing devotional service. In the form of Prabhupada's books, that knowledge, the window to the spiritual world. Bhagavatam are the windows to the spiritual world. So let's talk about the in-between position and how we're practicing devotees. So you kind of realize, okay, we want out of this rat race, we want out of this material world, no more suffering. And then we get a taste and it's really nice. And along the way, we take our baggage from the material world for our attachments. I just got shown a picture of Mathura and it's like packed streets. It's like, oh my God. Sorry. So we went out of the rat race, not to be stuck. But when we come to Krishna consciousness, we bring our hand luggage, a lot of hand luggage of our material attachments to the immaterial enjoyment. So there's a nice story about this. So one time there was a thief and he became a devotee, and the devotees were going on parikrama in a holy place. But, he was a thief for so long and he just felt like, I just need to steal something. So then when everyone's asleep, he started looking in everyone's bag. He's thinking, no, I'm a devotee now, I can't do this. So then he started moving things around. So he'll put it one place, put it another way, take something, put it another place. When everyone woke up, they're like, hey, where's my clothes? Where's this? Where's that? And they found it all everywhere. I was like, who did this? What the hell happened? So then the thief, he confessed, he goes, oh, my dear devotees, I'm so sorry that, I was moving your things around because I was formerly a thief. I tried to restrict myself, but I just shifted things around. So we can see, obviously they forgave him, but they encouraged him to keep going on with devotional service because it's very purifying of that material desire. Srimvata Swakata Krishna Punya Shavana Kirtana Hirananta Story Bhajani Badunoti Sahisatam. That the Super Soul sitting in the heart, when he sees the honest devotee eager to hear his messages, the Lord within the heart purifies him of material desire. Badunoti. So it cleans out all the gunk. So we can imagine the movement in the future. This is a joke. So imagine the movement in the future, Kali Yuga progresses further. Maybe cannibalism has taken place. And then, you're dancing in the kirtan, and then suddenly the old ways come, and in the middle of kirtan just bites someone's arm. The devotee looks tasty. Just imagine if someone like Putana joined the movement. We all have our backstories. Oh, I used to do this bad thing, this bad thing. Imagine Putana. She joins the movement. She says, yeah, I used to drink children's blood. Ew, Mataji. Hare Krishna. But look how Krishna treated Putana. The excitement he accepted as his own nurse, as his own mother, because he only sought the good. Okay, she's coming to breastfeed me. The whole poison thing, being a demon, that's secondary. Let me just purify all that stuff by taking her life there. But I'll accept her eternal self. So Krishna is very excited about our devotional service. That's why it's his heart and soul. That's why it's not different from the Lord. But still, when we start to become a devotee, we practice the mode of goodness. And that's the best material life. Rising early. Early to rise, early to bed makes a man healthy, wealthy, wise. Being clean, being thoughtful, eliminated by knowledge. It's a good material life. Sometimes we equate it with spiritual life. Just because it's mode of goodness doesn't necessarily mean it's transcendental. You may be regulated even. But it can be complacent in the sense that you don't want to transcend. You don't want to take a risk for Krishna. We get attached to that. And the demigods, they're in the mode of goodness. So it says in the Gita, when you die in the mode of goodness, you attain the heavenly planets. So for a devotee, if someone wants Krishna, this is not a good destination. So material enjoyment, whether it's in the mode of passion, ignorance, or goodness, is irrelevant. But Krishna, he makes sure that something happens. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 22, text 39, he says, Ami Vigya e Mukhe Visaya Kanadiva, Sachanamrita Diya Vishya Bulaiva. Krishna says, since I'm very intelligent, why should I give this full material prosperity? Instead, I shall induce him to take the nectar of the shelter of my lotus feet and make him forget illusory material enjoyment. So, if one sincerely prays to God for material possessions, in exchange for devotion, says, the Lord, who is not foolish like the unintelligent devotee, shows in special favor by taking away whatever material possessions he has, and gradually giving him the intelligence to be satisfied only by rendering service to his lotus feet. So Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, he gives an example to further us understanding. It's that if a foolish child requests its mother, give me poison, the mother is intelligent, wouldn't give him poison, even though he asked. So the materialist doesn't know that when you accept material possessions, it's like poison. It's not for your good because you get repeated birth and death. But intelligent person, someone like a Brahmana, who aspires liberation, material bondage, is devotional service. We actually, the means and the goal is the same. The reason why we serve is we want more service. We always want to increase it. Even Srimati Radharani, she sees that she wants to keep progressing and increase her devotional service. The reason why we chant, all this chanting, you've chanted 60 rounds for how long? So many kirtans. For what? For more chanting. That's why you're doing that chanting. when you pick up those jokes, so you can chant more. Krishna is more eager for us to come back to God than we are ourselves. So if it seems like we're getting distracted in some way, he always arranges something that will definitely come back. There's a really nice story my spiritual master said. It was in Vrindavan. And there was one devotee. And he had enough Krishna consciousness. Too hard, too many rules. I'm leaving. I don't enjoy the material world. So he goes, he leaves, this in India, he leaves and he tries to enjoy, smoke something, drink something. But because of all the knowledge he learned in Krishna consciousness, he can't enjoy it properly. So then he got angry at Krishna. He goes, Krishna, you're ruining everything. I want to enjoy separate from you, but all this knowledge gets in the way. You should just let me be, get rid of it all. So this devotee, he was on the tall side. And in India, they have low ceiling fans. So you can imagine what happened. He walked in and he didn't see the fan, it just hit him in the head. And then he saw the whole universal fall, passed out. And then when he woke up, he forgot everything. And then he could fully enjoy like anything. So say a few months later, he was sitting at the Krishna and he was rolling up something to smoke. And then he saw this monkey come to the river, take 3 drops on its head, bow down, and go away. And then this devotee just hit him. Oh my God, next life, I'm going to be this monkey. Because he saw the monkey as a devotee. So then he went back to the temple after that. That's how we know the story. So Krishna, even if you want to go away, he'll arrange things in such a way that you keep coming back. He's very kind like that. We turn our back, but he's still trying to figure things out for us. And pretty much the penance, the austerities are not a big deal in devotional service. Prabhupada, I was researching penance in the Veda base, and the only penance that was mentioned was the 4 regulative principles. No meat eating, no illicit sex, no gambling, and no intoxication. Rising early and chanting minimum 16 rounds every day. These were the only penances of Krishna consciousness. Everything else is fun, pretty much. So if you look at the 4 regulative principles, we can turn it into a positive. So Prabhupada mentioned in a lecture on this verse, 259. So for meat eating, you like meat because you like blood and flesh, the taste of blood. So one could take milk products. Milk of the cow is just blood transformed. And from milk, you can make so many foodstuffs: sandesh, rasgulla, sweet rice, burfi, paneer. It's like a whole hundreds of different things you can make from it. For intoxication, no intoxication, Prabhupada said, take prashadam and be intoxicated. I don't know if you've ever experienced that. You've gone to a devotee's place and you're very well behaved. Hare Krishna Prabhu, Mataji, it's nice to meet you. You're very well behaved. And then you sit down, the feast is served, and you get into it. It's so nice, delicious. And you eat up to the neck. And then everyone's just laughing like crazy, yelling at each other, acting like drunk men. I don't know if you experienced that. I've done that many times. And then for no illicit sex, Prabhupada said, we don't say no sex. We say get married and have sex and produce Krishna conscious children. Children to benefit society. And for no gambling, Prabhupada said Krishna consciousness is a gamble because you're going against the grain of society. So it's like the ultimate gamble, the transcendental platform of gambling, is to become a devotee against all these non-devotees, all these people who envy Krishna, to stand out for what's right. So you can see how it's a penance. And actually, this penance is a gift. It's even though the Lord may force us and take everything away from us, that may happen, like it happened to Bali Maharaj. The Lord took everything away and even humiliated him. You didn't give me 3 steps, you only gave me 2. And then in front of all his army, you can imagine, he was the king of heaven. He had the topmost position. He could have been proud as anyone else. He was legally allowed to be proud. And then within a moment, taken away for giving charity. He was warned before, but still went through with it. And then humiliated by Vamanadeva. But no, he took it on the chin. He told his soldiers to stay back. And he felt, yes, I deserve this punishment. I'm a sinful person. Then the mercy of the Lord is even greater, a greater plan for us. That with Bali Maharaj, he even got a planet better than Indra. And the Lord himself became his doorkeeper. Usually when it's like something, I don't know if they have in your countries, you hear of like kids being kidnapped, especially the children of rich parents. So they kidnap them and they ask for a ransom. All right, give us $50 billion or the kid dies. If you want to see your kid alive again. And they're like, yes, because, it's worth so much more, the person. So the possessor is more valuable than the possession. So the Mayavadis, the Karmis, they want everything. They want the kingdom of God without God. But the devotee is more ambitious. They want God himself. It's more valuable. So by devotional service, Krishna is conquered by bhakti. He can give opulence really easy, he can give liberation easily. But he himself, through bhakti, he will not give. But we get it through the devotee, the pure devotee. So that's why it's saying in this purport at the end that only the sinless can attain the Lord. But we are full of sin. So how can we do it? So that's why you have to take shelter of the spiritual master. The spiritual master is sinless, the love of God. We don't know how to do the penance that touches Krishna's heart, but the spiritual master does. That's why he's known as Tattvadarshana. He sees the truth. He sees our relationship with him and how we give pleasure to Krishna. So then when we engage as a servant of the servant, even though the connection is indirect, the experience is as if it's directly from Krishna, the love, the mercy, the elevation. This is the mercy of the spiritual master, that connection. We're full of sin. And that's why he gives us these 4 already principles, so we stay away from sin. And then we start chanting 16 rounds, which elevates us, purifies us heart. Chetadapana. Namno hi yavati shakti papani harine. Tavakatam shakti patakam patakina. Just by chanting once the Mahamantra can purify more sins that you can even commit in a lifetime. So the way of penance, especially in Kali Yuga, is the chanting of the Yuga Dharma. The penance of Sankirtan Yoga, it pleases the Yoga Purush or Chaitanya in this age. Krishna Varantasva Krishna. Panga Bhaga Sapashadam Yagyai Sankirtana Pray Yajanti Hi Samedasa. The Lord, who is Krishna Varnam, he's always chanting Krishna's name. But he's not in the blackish form, it's golden. He's accompanied by his associates and weapons. His weapon is his beauty. And he's worshipped by Sankirtan Yogya. Those who have good brain substance, Sumedasa, they engage in Sankirtan, chanting and dancing ecstasy. This is the universal event. Lord Chaitanya's appearance and the establishment of the Yuga Dharma. That's why the demigods are lining up. The non-devotees may not care. We don't care. But the universe cares. It's never been so easy to attain the highest realms of the spiritual Goloka Vrindavan. Actually, Goloka Parimadana Harinam Sankirtan. That Goloka itself descends when the Harinam Sankirtan takes place. It's the most auspicious activity in the universe because it can uproot the greatest of sins. Those who are convinced can convince others. So actually, penance is not negative. Penance is a great positive. Devotional service is the means and the ends. Chanting and dancing is the means and the ends. It's just how deep or how much you're going to drown in that Anandam Bodhivardhanam, the ever-increasing ocean of bliss. This is the invitation of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna. I'll stop here. If there's any questions, comments.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much, Sri Harinamananda Prabhu. Beautiful elucidation on the text. In fact, I will blame myself. I had wanted to mention to you to possibly say some few words about the golden avatar, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because his descent, his appearance is just 2 days away. I should say maybe a day away. So if you wouldn't mind, maybe you spend a minute or two to say something about Lord Chaitanya, and if the devotees have questions, then they may do so.
Gaura Purnima, the appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I'm in Mayapur actually, so.
Beautiful.
Down the road from the appearance,
Yeah.
the Yoga Pit. We went there yesterday. And my meditation was that this is where it all started. The flood of love of Godhead.
Mm-hmm.
This unbelievable mercy for the most fallen. The fact that we can even speak about these subject matters is amazing. What to think of hearing about it, implement it, and even realize it. This is only due to Vishrambhara. So Lord Chaitanya was contemplating to himself, my name, he was named Vishrambhara at birth. My name is Vishrambhara, which means maintainer of the universe. He says, how can it be in the maintaining of the universe if I don't give them Krishna prema? So just by Lord Chaitanya's glance, we can see the world has changed. People are being so inspired for true spiritual life, not Ketava Dharma, not cheating religion, but for knowing who is God and how to love him. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has done it in the most easiest and sublime way, in the form of Harinam Sankirtan. You don't have to be a scholar. You don't have to be a ritualist of some, puja and stuff. No, you don't have to be some aristocratic person. Doesn't matter who you are. Everyone can be connected to the highest realms of the spiritual world through Lord Chaitanya's Harinam Sankirtan. Lord Chaitanya made it so accessible, along with his associates, the Panchitanya. Lord Nityananda is known as more merciful because his whole existence is to prove that Lord Chaitanya is Namo Mahavadanyaya, that he's the most merciful incarnation. that he is giving Krishna prema to everyone. So he sees himself as simply the instrument of the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then we see Advaita Acharya. If it wasn't for him, he saw that everyone was giving lip service, being ritualistic, only practicing religion for material gain, at least. And he was angered. He said, I will chop everyone's head off my chakra. The Lord does not descend and give Krishna prema. And then he found this passage in the scripture. If one worships the Lord with Tulsi and Gambajal with great devotion, then I will do whatever they want. They purchase. Like the way the Acharya is crying out for the Lord to descend. Gadada Pandit is Srimati Radharani, but without that ecstasy, that bhav that Srimati Radharani gave that to Krishna, because she felt that if you experience what I experienced loving you, you'll simply crash and jump onto the ground and roll around. So I don't want you to get hurt. I want to take that pain. Such love is, this unconditional love is never heard of before. Gadada Pandit is playing the role of as a servant. Gadada Pandit took Chatra Sannyas in Jagannath Puri, and then when the Lord left, he wanted to break that vow. But Lord Chaitanya has more love for the devotee. He says, no, I don't want to defame you. It's okay if I get defamed, but you get out of know. And even when he disappeared, he said that he went into the knee of his very own deity, Tota Gopinath. You can see there. Jagannath Puri, and then Srivas Pandit, actually the Sankirtan movement started at his home. Chankazi came and break the mridanga. If you do this again, we'll convert you and punish you. And then Lord Chaitanya says it's time to go out to the Kazi's house. Big Harinam Sankirtan, torches at night, not even during the day, at night. There's so many torches that look like daytime. And then he had a discussion with the Chankazi. And then he said, from now on, no one is allowed to stop Harinam Sankirtan. You should go on free. So we can see Lord Chaitanya, his appearance, it's not just him with the Panchatattvas involved, his associates involved. You can't talk about Lord Chaitanya alone. But he's the center Shaya, he's the center of this manifest emotion of mercy. And Kata Yata Yasmin Duskarum Sukarum Bhave Misriteri Priyatisha Sri Chaitanya Namita. So if you just remember Lord Chaitanya, difficult things become easy. But if you forget it, even easy things become difficult. Is that okay?
Yes, thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for sharing. Though it appears short and simple, but it's very, very much profound and very, very deep. So, dear devotees, if anyone may have questions, realizations, comments, please you may indicate by using the hand emoji or physical hand, and you'll be asked to unmute to ask your question or share your realizations. Prabhu, I have one question with three prongs. So it's like a sword. It's not a sword to kill, but one question with three different subsets. One is, and of course they are all pastimes, and it's coming from what you shared with us so beautifully. One is about Shishupal, Putana. She came to kill Krishna with her breast milk that had been poisoned. Krishna did not see the death trap. He only saw how Putana wanted or desired to breastfeed him. Second one, is Lord Chaitanya absorbing all the beatings that Haridas Thakur was sustaining in, I think, 21 or 22 marketplaces. And then the third one just escaped my mind. But devotees oftentimes give these examples and say that do not see anything bad in anybody. After all, Krishna did not see the negative part of Putana. Some devotees also say that pure devotees of the Lord do not feel pain because in the case of Haridas Thakur, Lord Chaitanya absorbed all the beatings. If I remember the third one, I will say it. But my question to these is that if Krishna did not see the negative aspect of Putana's plot, then why did Krishna decide to relieve her of her negative mentality by giving her liberation? And then two, if Haridas Thakur was not feeling any pains at all, what actually would have been the motivation for Lord Chaitanya to absorb the beatings? So I would like you to share on, if I remember the third one, I would say it, but for the time being, these two, should the devotees see the negative things that people have or people display? And two, do pure devotees of the Lord also go through external physical pains?
Yeah, good question. All right, so the first question, should we not see the bad things in people? Is it from the Bible, hate the sin but not the sinner? Is it in the Bible? Is it biblical?
Yes, biblical.
Yeah. So yeah, the person, like someone has a disease, we don't like the disease, we attack the disease, but the person is very good. So that's pretty much what Lord Chaitanya's movement's all about. Lord Nityananda stated it to Lord Chaitanya when he was about to kill Jagai Madai. You came, we know he is Padachara Sadhana Vinasya to Duskritam, you come to kill demons, but if you kill Jagai Madai, you have to kill everyone because everyone's Jagai Madai. So better you deliver them. So we're gonna kill the demoniac mentality. This is the devotees' mood to it. So we don't connect the greed, the lust, the envy, the illusion, the madness to the person. We say that they're affected by a disease and they need the medicine, which is Harinam Sankirtan, Prasadam, transcendental knowledge. So this is the way we see the people. And with devotees, we may also see bad qualities. But if they're sincerely engaging in devotional service, there's no need to criticize. Just like someone is dirty and they're in the shower, you can't criticize them because they're in the shower. Oh, he's so dirty, but he's in the shower. Eventually, you get clean. You can't criticize him. But as a form of Vaishnava etiquette, Chanaka Pandit says, unless you're a superior and you have a close relationship, then you can instruct the person. If you're junior or you don't have a relationship, better to, if that person's doing wrong, you don't correct them, you tell someone who's their senior or someone who has a close relationship with them to warn them of the danger they're about to commit. So that's the first question. The second question, do pure devotees go through pain? How was it? Did they go through pain?
Yes, physical pain.
Oh, yes. Yes, definitely. Definitely go through this physical pain. But because they're pure devotees, they know how to take shelter of the Lord. And by taking shelter, they demonstrate to us conditioned souls how to deal with um, the material world. Because the material world is still a bad place, even for a pure devotee. It's not a place of happiness. But how to deal with it in such a way that you're with Krishna. So one thing is that Lord Brahma's prayer, Tatta Kampa Shushamikshama Binjabim Kritam Vipakahi Vava Pabi Vedanta Namaste Javeti Om Tipade Sadayata. That Lord Brahma prays, "Oh my Lord, your devotee patiently waits for your mercy. All the while, suffering the reactions of his past misdeeds, he still worships you with his heart, body, and words. For that person, the spiritual world becomes his rightful claim. So when the sufferings come, he says, oh, you're purifying me faster. I'm getting a token of what I deserve. And I'm coming closer to you." So it's a bit more excited. There's a sense of like, hey, I'm probably coming quicker than I expected. The train's going faster here. So that's the devotee's mood, the pure devotee's mood towards it. Krishna's mood, why would he do that to the pure devotee? Is mainly to glorify the devotee. The Pandavas went through so much suffering. Dhruva Maharaj went through so much suffering. We saw Bali Maharaj as well, going through so much suffering. Prahlad Maharaj. We can go through all these suffering like anything, probably worse than we could ever experience. I don't think we've come close to the Pandavas' suffering. No way. Haridas, even Haridas, 22 marketplaces. He was ostracized not just by the Hindus, but also the Muslims. No one liked him. He's Namacharya. He's doing the best thing you could think in the universe. And no one likes him, only Lechitanya and the close associates. And only those humble enough to accept him as a saint. So, we think that practicing Krishna consciousness means a good material life. No, it doesn't mean that. It's not karma kanda. That's the 8th offense, chanting Om name. But it gives you the ability to raise your consciousness to see the material problems become very insignificant, that they don't really matter because it's connected to the body. The body only lasts for some time, but I'm an eternal soul serving Krishna. The most important thing for me is my relationship with Krishna. And sometimes, like when death is coming close, you'll see the consciousness of the devotee accelerate so much due to that suffering. I guess now this is Hare Krishna Africa, and Hare Krishna Africa wouldn't be there if there wasn't Bhakti Tirtha Swami. He made this prayer to save our movement. And he was in ecstasy because due to the suffering, he was able to expand his preaching further. The pure devotees, para dukkha dukhi. He feels when others are in pain, he is in pain. But his own pain is irrelevant. So when he saw that, okay, if he went through this so-called suffering, and it expanded his preaching further and more intense, then that's the greatest happiness. Because it gives more pleasure to Krishna. Because more people come to serve him. No one can understand the mentality of pure devotee.
Well, Prabhuji, thank you so much for the answers. As you were speaking, I just remembered the third one. But before I ask something about the third one, I just wanted to register my appreciation for the answers and scriptural references given in explaining what you were talking about. That we see that, but we do not capitalize on it. We, like you quoted a biblical quotation, we hate sin, we do not hate the sinner. So it's not that we do not see the sin, but we do not hate the sinner for committing the sin. So we see bad things. Otherwise, what is the reason for preaching if we do not see good and bad? And then two, that the pure devotees, they also go through pains, but their mindset is different from their conditioned souls. And it's very important that devotees understand this concept, because if we don't, then we begin to think that the pure devotees do not go through any pain at all. And when we find a pure devotee going through pain, then we begin to ask ourselves, man, I thought all along that this person was a pure devotee, but now he's having this pain, he's expressing pain. But that is not the case. Like you rightly quoted, that Krishna says that while enduring one's past karmic reactions, but through all, the person is still dependent and performing devotional service unto the Lord. So thank you for these explanations. But the third one, which I believe is really suitable for you, is also, yes, it's a third pastime. And that is, it's said that Lord Chaitanya was like the first social disobedient. When he was asked to stop this Harinam Sankirtan, he said, okay, if you were asking me to stop, I'm going to show to you how to stop that. And then he organized different sets of Harinam teams. So sometimes, as devotees, we use this to claim that this age is an age of Harinam Sankirtan. So if the government is asking us not to perform Sankirtan, we're going to go ahead and do it. I said you are very appropriate because that is what you do. You always on the street chanting, giving Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to people in general. Now, what do we learn from such social disobedience that was led by Lord Chaitanya? Can we do that? Or we cannot do that?
We can. The potency that was there in Lord Chaitanya's time is still existing now. But when one does it, don't expect difficulties to come. So like I said in the class, we have the penance. Our penance is devotional service. It's very joyful, but still there will be difficulties. So our penance, the difficulties that come within devotional service, that is the penance. So we don't need to add anything extra on. So do you mind asking which government is not allowing Harinam?
Yeah, for example, of course, I'm speaking to you from the US. And during the COVID pandemic,
okay,
government issued statements preventing social gathering. So could the devotees have said, oh, what do you government of today know about Lord Chaitanya's potency? We're not going to listen to you. We're going to go out there and do Harinam. And
okay,
I am thinking.
So my question is, did they do it?
As far as I know, they didn't.
Yeah, so they didn't do it. So they didn't know the potency. So it starts with the devotees. They don't need to try and convince the government. They have to convince themselves. So it takes pretty much a leap of faith because you're going against the social thing, even amongst the Hare Krishna movement. Going out in Harinam is not so popular. Why? I don't know. The only scriptural reference I found was that it's due to impersonalism. We still carry impersonalism within our heart, which means that the Lord is asking us to perform the activity, but we still want to be seen as religious, spiritual, a devotee of Lord Chaitanya, but we don't want to do the Lord Chaitanya thing. It sounds heavy statement. I try to say it as nice as possible with a big smile. But like you said, the government said no gatherings, no, especially something like Harinam. Devotees were saying we should, but ultimately you have to walk the talk. And only when you go out there, then you can experience Lord Chaitanya's powers in effect. That's my comment on that situation.
Well,
and even though I say it, I know that it can't be understood. So, like I said, our movement is about gaining faith through experience, applying the knowledge. So, our knowledge is to chant and dance and help Lord Chaitanya spread the holy name. That's definitely our responsibility being part of this movement. Corporating is a good day to do it. Lord Chaitanya will be very pleased.
Yeah.
Birthday.
Yeah. Thank you so much, HARINAMANANDA Prabhu. I think we have Madhavan Prabhu with hand raised. Prabhu, you may unmute.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Love glory, love grace unto God. Thank you very much for delivering this very wonderful lecture. We quite appreciate your presence. From today's text, I want us to focus on the last paragraph.
Yes.
So we stated that one cannot, however, be engaged in the penance of devotional service without being completely free from all sin. And it also went further by saying that, as stated in the Gita, only a person who is completely free from all reactions of sin can engage himself in the worship of the Lord. Then he cited the example of Brahmaji. Say Brahmaji was sinless, and therefore he faithfully discharged the advice of the Lord. My concern now is that is it when someone is completely, you know, we like to engage in a devotional service or penance for purificatory process to free ourselves from sin, to purify ourselves. But this statement is now saying that one has to be free from sin, first of all. So these two, this statement is like technically, I need some little bit of clarification so that ordinary person can understand what we are saying there. Hare Krishna.
Okay. I wanted to touch on this point, but I didn't have enough time, so I'm happy you asked the question. So this verse is from the 7th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, and it's stating that unless you're free from sin, you cannot perform devotional service. So that's confirmed. So we are sinful. That's why we're in Kali Yuga. So then when you take initiation, the spiritual master takes a good amount of your sin to make it easier to perform devotional service, because material desires also, which are in the seed form in the consciousness, it's due to bad reactions, bad activity in the past life, which can invoke material desires and material sinful activity again, and you get stuck in that cycle. So when you engage in, when you take initiation from the spiritual master doesn't take all the sin or all the reaction, but it takes a good amount so you can make it easier for you to perform devotional service. But you still may carry some reaction. So it says here you have to be completely sinless. The spiritual master is sinless. So the way we perform penance is doing it as an assistant to the spiritual master. So we are not doing the service to Krishna. We are only assisting the spiritual master. The spiritual master is doing the service to Krishna, we assist him. And that is our penance, being the instrument of the sinless spiritual master. Because but the experience is as if Krishna is receiving it from, like, he's acting as if you gave it to him. And you get reciprocation from Krishna directly. So this is, because we please the spiritual master, Krishna is very pleased. And then he becomes very merciful, not just to us, but the spiritual master prays for us, for Krishna to accept us. So that's why we get mercy too. The last sentence you say, he directs the sinless, and the sinless devotee attains the highest perfection in life. So he's directing the spiritual master how to direct us. And if we hold on to the lotus feet of the spiritual master, his instruction, then he'll carry us with him to the highest perfection in life. So this is our way of experiencing Krishna directly through the parampara. It's very mystical, but that's the science. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you very much, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. I quite appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for the question, because I want to speak on.
Yeah, Madhavan Prabhu, thank you so much for the question, because I also, if you did not ask, I was also going to ask. So it's very good you asked that question. Because when you were reading and I saw it, I said, oh my God, which means I cannot perform devotional service because I'm not completely sinless. But like you rightly explained, once we hold on to the lotus feet of our spiritual master and follow the guidance and instructions, we will also at some point to become sinless. So thank you. Anyone with something to ask before Prabhuji leaves? It's quite late, his time in Mayapur. On the Holy Dam where Lord Chaitanya is going to appear in a few hours. Well,
I'm actually going to Vrindavan for Gaurapani, but anyway.
Oh, you're going to Vrindavan, okay.
Tomorrow. You have a flight tomorrow.
Good. Thank you so much, HARINAMANANDA Prabhu. For some reason, your camera today made us see your lotus teeth much more than face.
I don't know what happened with the lights.
Well, it's equally beautiful. It's good. Very good. So on this note, dear devotees, we're going to humbly request you all to kindly unmute, and we all chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to express our appreciation to our revered speaker, His Grace HARINAMANANDA Prabhu, for sharing his love and wisdom with us today. Jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Hare,
Hare
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Rama,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Rama
Hare Hare,
Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare
How's
Hare.
everything, sir?
Vanchakarapata Rubyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Sivasya Patitanam Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha.
Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.
Hare Krishna.
Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinde Ki Jai.
Thank you so
His
much.
Grace
for-
Harinamananda Das Prabhu Ki
Jai.
Jai.
Hare Hare.